August 8 is a 2012 Russian action drama film about the 2008 South Ossetia War. This is the third film on this subject. The film tells the story of a young, single mother who is compelled to make her way to South Ossetia to reunite with her son, whom she had sent before the war. The film is told in two perspectives. One shows the war through the mother's viewpoint, while the other shows it through the eyes of the boy as a science fiction story about fighting robots. As opposed to the preceding Olympus Inferno and 5 Days of War, this film was not advertised officially as the struggle for truth, although it also was subsidized by the government. The film was recognized as a socially important project and was filmed at the expense of the Russian State Fund for Social and Economic Support of National Cinematography. 20th Century Fox C.I.S., a Russian distributor of 20th Century Fox, distributed the film. The Russian premiere took place on February 21, 2012, in theaters and on November 4 of the same year on TV on Channel 1. Djanik Fayzeev dedicated this film to all women in his life who took part in his upbringing. Plot: Ksenia, a 23-year-old Muscovite pastry chef, is very busy with her new second-chance romantic relationship, while her 7-year-old son Artyom, suffering from the pain of his parents' separation, hides in a world of fantasy every time he feels like being hurt or lonely. In his fantasies he sees himself as a superhero Cosmo Boy who, together with a giant-kind robot, battles against the terrifying monster robot Miraculous. Everything changes when on August 5, 2008, Ksenia gets a call from her ex-husband and Artyom's father Ossetian Tsar, who serves as a peacekeeper in South Ossetia. He misses Artyom very much and asks her to send the boy to his parents, who live in the village of Sidamonta, right next to the administrative border separating South Ossetia from the rest of Georgia. Tsar assures her that everything is perfectly safe. Ksenia, after some hesitation, agrees because she wants to take a vacation in Sochi with her new boyfriend, a bank employee, Yegor, who can't find understanding with Artyom, and Ksenia needs some private time with her new lover, but she agrees under a condition that Tsar sends her son back immediately as soon as she asks him to. On August 7, after her son's departure, Ksenia learns from internet articles that South Ossetia is turning into a conflict zone. She calls Tsar and demands that Artyom be brought back to Russia. Tsar, seeing his parents happy with their grandson, who they miss, and Artyom obviously enjoying his vacation in the Caucasus, tries to convince Ksenia that those internet articles may not be true, but she does not want to listen to him. Ksenia has a bad feeling and comes to see Yegor at his bank, but unexpectedly, he says that he does not want to get involved in her family problems and that she's like a little, because she should be taught throughout. When they go into the elevator, Yegor tells her that he taught her to feel an orgasm, and he is sure that she does not fake it. To humiliate Yegor in response, Ksenia begins to repeat, "Yeah, Yegor, yeah," and repeats it each time louder until it becomes clear that she is faking an orgasm, a reference to the scene from When Harry Met Sally. Other people in the elevator silently begin to laugh, and when the elevator doors open, Ksenia leaves and the humiliated Yegor continues to stand still. Ksenia flies to Vladikavkaz, where she takes a bus through the rocky tunnel into the pre-war South Ossetia. Suddenly, the bus is exposed to an ATGM attack. Ksenia and several other passengers miraculously survive. Russian military reconnaissance unit assists in their evacuation. Among them is the commander of the reconnaissance Lyo. Ksenia persuades him to take her to Ossetian capital Tskhinvali and turns on the central square of Tskhinvali on a memorable night from 7 to 8 August 2008, when the city was hit by BM-21 Grad multiple rocket launch. Ksenia manages to reach the refugee camp in DZAU. Along the way she calls Tsar, who is driving to Sitamonta to evacuate his parents and Artyom. They both decide to meet in DZAU, but Tsar's attempt to evacuate his parents and Artyom falls. When they sit down in his jeep, he and his parents were killed by shells fired by the Georgian tank, and Artyom runs into deep shock from the scene. In DZAU, Ksenia waiting for them to come and calls Artyom on his mobile phone. Artyom, who had just regained consciousness after the explosion, picks it up, but being in a state of shock, only a whisper, "Murakavlast was here." Murakavlast killed all. Realizing that nobody can help her, she decides to go into the war zone to save her son. Situation becomes complicated that Artyom has a slipping wound in his temple and he starts to be exposed to hallucinations because of a loss of blood. Hiding everything is deeper in the world of his illusions. At the same time, Ksenia and Tsar's friend Ilya with Russian military convoy and journalists get ambushed and Ilya dies killed by Georgian soldier. Ksenia is saved by Lyo and his comrade, who observed attack on convoy as recon. Lyo has recon unit as assignment to assist Russian peacekeepers holding defense against Georgian army and evacuate refugees. Ksenia persuades Lyo to take her along, since peacekeepers' base is not far from home where her son is hiding. En route to the base, Lyo appears to be smart and professional soldier. When Russian vehicles jump right in front of shooting Georgian tank, Lyo is cold and counting from 1 to 7, because recharging time of tank gun is 6 seconds. On count 7, both Russian vehicles make sudden turn, thus escaping tanks' artillery fire. When recon unit reaches the base, Lyo finds out that quantity of refugees is 10 times more than initially reported and his unit simply has no transport to evacuate them all. The only solution is to move all refugees from peacekeepers' base still under attack and seek for transport. This will take 6 to 7 hours before Lyo can assist Ksenia, and she decides to reach her son alone. Lyo has no choice but accept it, provides Ksenia with flashlight, map and walkie-talkie and starts evacuation of refugees, blocking line of Georgian fire with Russian tank which ammunition has run out. Refugees and Ksenia successfully evacuated from the base and separate, Ksenia running to save her son. Ksenia luckily sneaked past small Georgian army unit busy repairing one of the jeeps and finds her son, but he is wounded and unable to walk. In despair, she returns to location of Georgian soldiers and steals one of the cars. Soldiers seeing one of the jeeps escaping start to shoot, but too late to stop her. Ksenia picks up her son just seconds before Georgian soldiers appear nearby hunting for the stolen car. Trying to escape them, Ksenia rushes with her car right in the middle of large Georgian army position. One of Georgian tanks shoots at invisible Russian positions, but starts to turn his main gun to fire at Ksenia's car as soon as they noticed her. Ksenia recalls her experience of traveling with recon unit and counts to 7. On count 7 she sharply turns the wheel, tank fires but misses her, destroying Georgian armored vehicle instead. Georgian positions are taking large field and Ksenia evidently going to be captured a shot. But at this moment Sukhoi Su-25 wing makes massive airstrike on position of Georgian army and Ksenia is driving out of resulting chaos. Feeling safety she stops the car but assaulted by Georgian soldier who wants to get her car to retreat from approaching Russian army. Ksenia explains him that her son is wounded and she had stolen Georgian jeep to save him. She begs Soldier to let her go, argumenting that Soldier's mother would do the same for him. Georgian Soldier accepts her arguments, though his slowly approaching and evidently wounded comrade shouts, "Just shoot her." Soldier explains that Ksenia will be immediately shot by Russians as soon as they will see an approaching Georgian military vehicle. He proposes to get her as close as possible to Russian positions and she agrees. Soldier drives jeep with Ksenia away from his wounded comrade, who curses in response to his command, "Wait here." Soldier drops Ksenia in vicinity of approaching Russian tanks and returns, encouragingly signaling a honk and waving his hand. Ksenia walks over hilltop to approaching Russian tanks and leading tank stops right in front of her. Tank commander asks her if she speaks Russian, and after she nods shortly demands her to get away from the road, grumbling that having such tempo, the tank will never reach Tbilisi. Ksenia just smiles, steps to the roadside and continues to walk towards masses of approaching Russian soldiers. Her son is treated in the hospital and she is lying near him telling endless story about Cosmo Boy and Kind Robot, but suddenly her son interrupts her and asking her to tell story about his father, not about robots. Later they wait for helicopter evacuating them to Russia and Lyoa finds them both while they are waiting for boarding. Ksenia is happy to see him and asks about results of war. Lyoa shortly replies, "The war is over. We won." Stopped in Gori. Both Ksenia and Artyom cheerfully say goodbye to Lyoa and board helicopter. In the next scene, answering machine in Ksenia's apartment is shown playing numerous messages from Yegor, who says he is missing her for the whole day that passed and asking to excuse him. The last message, however, is from Lyoa, who simply tells, "Hi, Ksenia." Cast: Svetlana Ivanova as Ksenia, Maxim Matvieyev as commander of the reconnaissance Alexei Lyarka, Konstantin Samokov as Lieutenant Grigory Grishka, Egor Beroyev as Tsar Kind Robot, Alexander Oleshko as Yegor Obstetrician, Artyom Fadeev as Artyom, Carson Baryev as Captain Ilya, Vladimir Vdovichenkov as President of Russia, Anna Legchlova as Ksenia's mother, Alexei Guskov as Kazbek Nikolaevich, Gosha Kutsenko as himself, Estelle Raskin as foreign journalist, Mitya Labush as journalist killed in an armored personnel carrier, Lydia Uvalezeva as Azza, Timur as Tanya as controller in the bus on Skin Valley, Vladimir Zaziev as Russian defense minister, Valery Kudishkin as chairman of the FSB, Tamara Gamgee as Tsar's mother, Leonid Kishba as Tsar's father, Alexander Karamnov as Colonel Peacekeeping Forces Romanov, Alexander Koshabayev as Georgian soldier, Kirill Pletnev as tanker, Yekaterina Avdieva as Cosmo Boy in the play, Dezhanik Faziev as Marakovlast, director of the play. Production. Even at the initial stage of the film, Faziev said that this film is the story of the events on a global scale, as shown through the prism of the fate and actions of ordinary people whose main character encounters during her adventure. The central plot of the story is based on two true stories. The first is based on the story of Dezhanik Faziev's friend who dragged his ex-girlfriend from South Ossetia in August 2008. The second was based on Dezhanik Faziev's girlfriend, who was a single mother with a son, who represented from himself the angry robot each time when Faziev tried to talk to him. Faziev, thinking up the plot, inspired by his favorite movies Black Hawk Down and Saving Private Ryan. The film was shot in the period from March to August 2011. Most of the scenes of South Ossetia were shot in Abkhazia and North Ossetia Alania. The majority of the extras consisted of Abkhazians, but the characters, who speak in Ossetian, were played or were dubbed by North Ossetian actors. The official trailer was created in Trailer House by Sundown Entertainment. Film distribution. The premiere of the film took place in Moscow on February 17, 2012 at of Cinema Pushkinsky. The All-Russia premiere took place on February 21, 2012. The premiere was dated for Defender of the Fatherland Day, because of which the film had very rigid competition. Though in the first week of distribution the film was in the lead at the box office among Russian films and collected more than 140 million rubles. For the first weekend, Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance kept the top position at the box office, earning about 240 million rubles. In total, August 8 netted about $10 million in Russian theaters, much less than the gross of Fiziyev's previous film, Turkish Gambit, which cost $4 million but grossed $18 million in Russian theaters. The acute beauty of the film with English subtitles took place in Australia on September 1, 2012 under the title August 8 at the Russian Resurrection Film Festival 2012. Home media. In Russia the film was released on DVD on the 22nd of March 2012 and on Blu-ray on the 14th of June 2012. Neither edition contains any subtitles. A French dub of the movie called War Zone was released on DVD and Blu-ray in France on the 7th of August 2013.